Want me to start the timer, Mark?
Please.
I thought it's about high time I started helping out around here.
I like that you brought down the tomato juice.
Yeah, but we didn't do anything about it. So.
Well, we didn't bring any glasses. Or
really?
did you? Oh.
These aren't
nice.
disposables. You be careful with that. That's the good china.
I have to do a little posting of an event tomorrow, so I'm putting a little tomato juice in my beer. So I recover faster.
What is it again? Yeah, it still cracks me up.
It gives you your vegetables and
it doesn't
minerals.
affect even a little how much you drink. You just put tomato juice in it.
No, it doesn't affect how much I drink, but it helps me recover quicker.
Because it's got electrolytes in it?
Yeah, that's right.
That's great. It also...
What is that movie?
Idiocracy. It is also not... This is not tomato juice. It's Zing Zang Bloody Mary mix. Tomatoes are not listed as an ingredient. Tomato puree. All right. And then it just says awesomeness. And then spices. Ugh. It's like the miracle of birth when you pour it in. That's not good. Not good at all. So, all right. Are we starting?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Ascertainers, which is this episode 90?
It is.
Do we think it is?
We think it is.
Shout out to a former neighbor there. Is this episode 90?
Yeah.
So, yes, it is. We somehow, some way have found roughly 90, well, the amount of time I have to spend with Mark, it feels like an eternity, but we have about probably 80 hours of this shit.
Do you ever hear
That'd be 2 weeks of a full-time job of this.
Do you ever hear that Aerosmith song, Don't You See Me Crying?
You see me crying.
You see me crying. At least you corrected me.
There's one.
You slammed me and corrected me.
Did you notice on the last episode I tried to correct my mom a couple times too? I do it so well. So stealthily. Kind of Donald Trump fingers there when I did that. I do it so well.
Your mom talked to me afterwards and she said,
Do you guys have a meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get her phone bill and I see all the texts you get. What the hell? What's going on with that?
Jim only corrected 6 times on the episode you invited her on.
Do you want me to? I just want my mom to be great.
I just like the hands on the hips. You were going to say something.
I'm not sure what I mean. I have so much phlegm in my throat. I'm trying to figure out what to do. That's exactly why I have the.
I can do the dump.
I don't believe you.
Well, that's good.
The arsonist had oddly shaped feet. Ah! Okay, I'm all better now.
You're back.
Is there any way your mic would have picked that up? All right, so anyway, enough about that. The Ascertainers, just so you know where you are, if you're still here, by the way, we understand if you're not, but the Ascertainers are it's called a podcast, Mark, and it's where 2 idiots go into my basement and talk about crap and laugh and have some beers and have a good time and invite you all to hear and critique it. And we have a sponsor.
We do.
Have you said hi yet?
Hello, I'm Mark, the other half of the Ascertainers.
And you are. You just said it.
A male?
Guess. I could have asked it in the wrong order. You are a male. It looks like he questions that too when he says it. He is a male. All right, cool. I am a mammal. I'm not a marsupial. I get cold in the winter. So it would make you warm-blooded then, Mark. Oh, yes, I am a warm-blooded male.
Oh, I was trying to take a drink and I had to set it down.
That's one of my favorite Foreigner songs, Warm-Blooded.
Oh, I thought you said I'm a mammal. Isn't that a Foreigner song?
I think that's Ted Nugent. I am a predator. You better lock your door. See? There's stuff that can rhyme. He's like Eminem, really. Oh, Mark just spewed. There's something happened.
Oh,
yeah, so anyway. We are a sponsored podcast. I was going to mention that. We're sponsored by a phenomenal restaurant in Apple Valley, Minnesota called Newt's, where we just pre-gamed Literally. So we got there, we sat next to a neighbor, and then another a guy I used to coach hockey with and his wife show up, and then the neighbor left, and then this other couple, Joe and Sarah. Hey, Joe and Sarah. I think he might listen. I'm not sure he knows that when this, what will come out actually the week after we met them, but anyway, he seemed sincere. He also seemed like the kind of guy you want to watch. I better just watch my tone around. He was a big dude.
Yes.
He looked like a ex-Marine kind of fella.
I wonder if he was.
I don't know. He was wearing the patriotic hoodie, and good guy.
Yeah,
very
nice.
Good people go to Newt's, and even if you're a bad person, you should go to Newt's. But they cater most to good people. Good people work there. You're going to get a random, b-hole in every crowd, right? So anyhow, new special, I forget what it was called. It was it wasn't a Nashville hot, but it was like a hot something chicken sandwich, a grilled chicken, had kind of a sweet hot sauce on it. And since we had cheese curds before, I got coleslaw for my side, and my body was like, what?
Yeah, it's very confused right now.
Oh, they got good coleslaw though, eh? They really do.
Did look good.
Chris went with the chicken fingers and or chicken strips, excuse me, and salad. And you had?
The rojo, or whatever it is.
It's a jefe rojo.
The jefe rojo.
Not to correct you.
It's only two.
Only to enhance you to make it right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, we had a couple pops. The brown is really good. AleSmith Brown Ale or something like that. And had two of those, 2 Coors Lights. Of course, we got our sponsorship payment out of the way, which is great. Sarah, thank you. And Corey refused to play a prank on Mark, and not sure how I feel about that, but I also know where this bread is buttered, so, I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, don't say anything.
I tried to get them to, when Mark went to the bathroom, to take his burger away like he was done. They wouldn't. Sons of bitches.
But Corey had a funny after that.
He's full of laughs, that guy. What was his funny? Do you recall?
When he said, that was the wrong order.
Oh.
To Sarah, the bartender.
I was trying to convince him of doing this thing, and he won't do it. And then Sarah's like, what's going on? And he goes, oh, you effed up their order, and then walked away. I'm like, no, it's fine. Sarah's got like a server's, what do we call that, hospitality mind, where you can tell her what you want, and then tell her how your Thanksgiving was, and, she's all in her head.
But she's a perfectionist, and she doesn't like to make mistakes.
I can say that we've eaten there a lot, the Ascertainers, you and I. And because of your Beyond Burger thing, which is a little bit of a, substitution, I think twice in all those times it's been a little iffy. And always you, not me, because they like me better, I think. I mean, don't you?
Well, I don't know what they do to your food in the back of the house.
Yeah, I don't know. It hurts the next day a lot. I'm telling you. Oh, anyway. Yeah, Newt's. Go to Newt's, Apple Valley, Minnesota. While you're there, tell them the Ascertainer sent you. And good luck getting a table, because the word's out on Newt's. But, so if you go in there and it says, wait to be seated, just book by and try to find a seat at the bar. And if you can't get a seat at the bar, then go back.
But don't take our seats.
Yeah, if we're not there, leave too. I mean, be cool. All right, we told you about Newt's. Just, save us a spot. All right, end of Newt's promo. We didn't talk about colonoscopies or nothing during that one. I think
it was very good.
Well. Good. You want Arrows and Omissions? You had some stuff from last week, I think?
I did. When Jim's mom was on, we covered George Washington's tooth. And you asked when he passed away. 67.
He was 67 years old?
Correct.
Wow. Was that pretty old for that day?
I don't know. His teeth were never wood, but the ivory that his teeth was made of turned brown, and everyone thought it was wood. That's where that came up.
This is like Schoolhouse Rock. Look at you.
It is.
He had ivory teeth?
He had brass, gold, ivory kind of mixed together, and then he had animal teeth at one point from a hippopotamus. Do you ever see a hippopotamus? Their big teeth?
Those are tusks.
No. Are they in his mouth?
Kind of. They come up, right? And they could mess
They're
you
like
up.
circular, and they come up. I don't know.
They're circular. They look like big white carrots.
They do.
Or giant white penises, because, you know.
And he also had human teeth.
Yeah, he's a guy.
From
other people's?
Other
like
humans.
donor teeth? Yeah.
I'm not going to say where they came from because that's very sensitive.
I hope they're from his rivals.
They are not.
Oh no.
They're from workers.
Okay, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
All right.
And the Social Security came up with FDR, but it was the New Deal, not the Great Society. That was LBJ.
I got to tell you right now, Rush is the best band ever. I just want to make sure we didn't lose anybody, because it's got a real, like a history podcast.
Sam Cooke was the one who
Sam
did.
Cooke, I looked that up. Yes, don't know much about history.
And the electric mangle.
I don't think it was electric, but yeah, I mean, I thought it is what
It
I
had
thought
to be
it was.
electric because she hit the button to turn it on.
She said a lever, because I looked at what a mangle is, and I think I was looking at a manual, because there's no way that was hot either. It was just two rubber wheels that you'd run shit through, so they must have had a heated one.
The ones I looked up had a heated arch over the wheel.
Okay.
And then you ran the whatever you wanted to iron through it.
Gotcha.
Either way, those things looked so dangerous.
Right.
Like,
yeah, well, that
you
was...
should never have something like that in your home.
That was the time. Yeah, they didn't have car seats back then either. They just had big, open, hot shit that a kid could just burn their hands off on. So anyway.
Well, that goes back to the washer and dryer that I think you were thinking of. The Ringer, it had two wheels, and then they had electric.
So when I looked up mangle, that's what I saw was the...
No, it's just one wheel with a heat arch over it that comes down and...
Oh, and then they push together when you clamp it down.
And that's what I think she hit.
All right, well, this that mom's hand story's got legs. That's weird. It's got two body parts, two separate ones. Anyway, love to have my mom on. Thanks for being a great sport, by the way. And you do very well with her. And I'd love to have your mom on sometime. But again, it sounds like her representation is really holding out for the rider. I'm fine with the compensation, but it's the rider. We can't do some of that stuff. It's illegal.
Since I'm her manager, a conflict of interest.
That guy's voice did sound familiar. You son of a bitch. I knew that was you.
I put a handkerchief over the phone.
I did.
That don't work.
And one with ether on before the phone call to give to me, and we were in the same room the whole time. Well, my mom works for free. She works for smiles and hugs, so got that going for us. We'll cough up the maybe the radio game proceeds to. Oh, speaking of which.
I wanted to say it.
Jinx. I think it's a jinx. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in, I think it's up to 55 now, perhaps. Radio game, Ascertainers exclusive. What we do is each of us will name 4 bands. When we are done listening to those bands, and I turn on this cool little transistor radio with an earbud, if one of those bands is playing on KQRS, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, classic rock, then somebody wins. But odds are nobody will. So, Mark, what are your first 2 bands?
Steely Dan and Hall & Oates.
Oh, I know your theme already. I'm going to go with Oswald Osborne because of The Penguin, which I watched this week, which was kind of a cool show. I think I'm about 3 years late on that one, but, what are you going to do? So Ozzy Osbourne and Pat Benatar.
And I'm going to go with Michael McDonald, so I get doobies.
Nice.
And Kenny Loggins.
Yes. Yacht Rock runs rich in this environment. I'm going with Joan Jett and Asia. So I got no theme. The only theme I got is I'm going to win. Oh, I got to fire up the jukebox. Oh, I think we got a song on. Hang on. No winners. My mom would have won on that one.
Van Halen.
Oh.
AC/DC.
Early. Highway to Hell. Early, but also late for one Bon Scott, his last album. I had touched too much on my mind all day, where he goes, too much for my body, too much for my brain. This damn woman's going to drive me insane. The passion in the delivery is just there. Not mine, his. So, yes, talk to me, Mark.
Well, I was thinking that's a good segue because we were going to talk about
this
bands.
will be a world record of getting into the topic, by the way.
Which is good.
Oh, we'll see.
We'll throw our whole audience off.
We'll find out in a sec. we'll be like 5 minutes in and be like, hey, what's the deal with twine? Yes, talk to us.
But bands that lost a member and continued on.
Yes.
But we covered Van Halen because they switched lead singers, AC/DC, Black Sabbath. There was one more that we covered.
I think Genesis we talked about.
We did.
We've teased this a lot, and we've talked about it a lot, but we're always kind of threatening to make it a topic, and now here we are.
And we got nothing.
Thanks for listening. Hey, going to give you guys about a half hour of your week back. Do something good with it, okay? Maybe try some crack cocaine if you've never tried that. Still a little pissed off that I didn't win the radio game. I thought that was a good lineup.
I knew mine wouldn't win.
Oh, so, hey, I have to mention, too, also, because last weekend we did 2 recordings, one with my mom, which you heard last week, if you're listening in order, and we also did one with my brother Jeff, and that will be aired.
It will be.
Is my understanding. Mark was like, let's break it up a little bit so it doesn't look like the, Jim's family tree here. So,
no, it was more because I couldn't do a late night episode, and we had no chance to pre-game.
Oh, so you didn't want to do 2, they were lower key recordings.
Yeah, correct.
So you want to have one debaucherous. So we better break some furniture on this one.
Well, your mom was good, your brother will be good, and I thought we should throw in a crappy one.
I haven't listened to the brother one. What if it's terrible and you decide not to air it and we just got his hopes up?
Oh.
I'll tell you what.
That's on you.
We've changed the radio game since he's been on last, and when we didn't do the second, he goes, let's do the second one of the radio game, and Mark's like, nope. And I'm like, ooh, and I reached for the earbud, and Mark kind of gave me a NBA style playoff foul.
No, when there's money involved, you can't.
We can't compromise?
You're correct.
You know what? Then we'd have to do it for all the guests. Which, by the way, I think our next guest, if everything goes well, will be Abe, neighbor Abe. I said, yeah, we're going to do the holiday ones. I think we're trying to get the second or third weekend of December, and then we'll get you on Big Abe. And he seemed into it. I mean,
a lot of people have done that and then pulled out at the phrasing, but
that's the best part.
Canceled at the last second because they go, I got a reputation to uphold.
I'm pretty positive Abe doesn't listen. So, but if he did, he'd take that as a challenge. I think it's a good strategy.
I like that.
Is the tomato? That's the tomato juice. That zing zang.
Yeah, the lack of tomato juice.
Zing zang. Mark was telling me at Newt's today. What the hell's Newt's again?
It's your burger emporium.
Apple Valley's Burger Emporium. I like it. That's the short version.
Yes.
That's for what WCC only pays for 15 seconds of advertising. But when they get a full minute, or full 30 seconds, we would say Apple Valley's hot, juicy burger.
Emporium.
Ice cold beer. Fresh popcorn. Always hot pull tab box.
Emporium.
There it is. I think you just stick with the Emporium. Leave the rest.
We should actually practice it off air.
I don't think. I would rather practice high kicks with you than to.
Like the Rockettes type?
Yeah.
You know how many injuries both of us would have if we tried that?
High would be in quotes in this case. By the way, do you notice something on the treadmill?
Because you've been using it.
I used it thrice this week.
Nice.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it really as much as I remember enjoying it. But
that's when you should watch like the Penguin and other things.
Buddy,
keep your interest.
I have a hard time chewing gum on that thing. So I literally look down at the name of the manufacturer and listen. I listen to the radio. I listen in the morning, and I listen to my AM radio guy that I listen to.
Do you look at the manufacturer and cuss them out?
It's actually the same name as one of Andrew's sister-in-laws, so it's interesting. I forget how. I feel like
you get angry at her for no reason.
I hardly know her. I mean, it's not. But her fault.
I mean, still,
it's not her fault. It's not your fault.
It's funny that Jim is so nervous about not having enough stuff for our podcast that he's kind of stretching out.
Yeah, we can dip into the topic now. Now I feel a little better. Now we're about halfway. I was uncomfortable. It was kind of like, there's other things in my life where it's like, I don't want to start yet.
Tell.
Okay, so I had one, but here's the thing, is I didn't prepare one bit. I had a busy week.
What's different
They're all
from
busy.
every other podcast?
Well, but like I know that Deep Purple changed a bunch of members, but I don't know any of the fucking names of the guys. But they literally changed singers. I think there's like categories here. Like when they change the singer, and it's like a founding member, and then they keep going and keep the same name. To me, that's pretty ballsy shit.
Well, Deep Purple was one that changed lead singers. They changed guitarists.
Mm-hmm. But they stayed awesome.
But you can delve
I think
into
Pink Floyd and they are the most consistent. You know what I mean? You don't know really which era you're necessary. Well, you would because you're a freak on Pink Floyd, but I'm going to start calling Pink Floyd now too, just to fuck you up. Like you call it Pilot Knob Road.
Oh.
Anyhow, like Deep Purple, I don't know what era I'm listening to, but every time I hear Deep Purple, I dig it.
I would agree with that. That was one I didn't actually look into.
Let's hear one of yours there, Tiger Cat.
Well, we could go with Journey. Lead singers in Journey.
I think it was Greg Rowley and then Steve Perry.
Greg Rowley.
Oh, and then the new guy. Then the
Robert Fleshman.
Who?
Robert Fleshman.
Is he the guy that went on to be in a margarine empire?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Steve Perry. Steve Gary.
Sure.
Jeff Scott Soto. And then the Arnel Pineda.
That's the new guy. That's the guy that lasted.
That's the guy they found on...
Is that the... Can we say
YouTube.
Asian anymore?
He's Filipino.
Filipino? Is that also Asian?
Yes.
I don't want to generalize or make anybody mad, but every time I say Asian, I think of the movie Zoolander. Do you remember at the beginning?
I don't. I didn't watch Zoolander.
Yeah, they kind of do a mockery of the Menendez brothers, and I don't remember what he looked like. All I know is he was... And then he said Asian kind of... Oh, look for the video link on the bottom. I don't want to be associated with that. Other than I'll post that video.
We already mentioned it, so you're associated with it.
Yes.
But I thought that was pretty wild. I didn't know they had that many.
I didn't either. Well, it's you don't know. I guess in some of these bands, you don't know how far back they go. You just know that when you started liking them, that's like when in your mind, that's when the band started. But yeah, they probably had a couple of shit. I mean, a lot of bands probably had crap albums that never saw the light of day before the one you liked showed up.
The Steve, it's like Augeri.
Aguirre?
Sounded just like Perry, but he blew his vocal cords out, and he couldn't sing anymore.
That'll do it. You gotta last.
You got to practice and keep the vocal cords in shape like, these singers do.
Like in porn stars.
Ooh, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's pretty much the same technique that's used to keep the vocal cords.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Elastic.
What is this porn?
Porn? Oh, it's like corn, but it's Hawaiian. Which is Polynesian, not Asian, okay? So... We have any, actually, there's a gentleman that lives in a neighborhood that might take offense to some of this, so I better shut the F up. He's also a former Marine. And is there a dot on my head right now? Is there a laser sight? I think from here, he could probably take one of us out.
Why am I involved in this?
Because you were in red. Because I'm pointing at you. That's why. Okay.
What's one of yours?
Well, what was yours? You didn't do one.
Journey.
I'll do one. Here, I'll do one. Whitesnake. You know what's different about Whitesnake? Are you familiar?
Yes, I thought it was only one.
Exactly. He brought in studio musicians, different ones for every record.
Really?
But when they toured, he would also grab a bunch of studios. So it was David Coverdale and Whitesnake. I can't believe he didn't call them. He didn't call his name out in the whole thing.
Yeah, why didn't he be
he was
like
also
Jeff Beck or something?
He was also a singer for Deep Purple. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. I think he was a singer for Deep Purple twice even. Or one of the Deep Purple singers came back.
So 2 concerts.
What now?
Well, you said he was a Deep Purple singer twice. And I thought, wow, 2 concerts?
I think it was for more than that. I think it was like 50. But
it's always funnier when you have to explain it.
What are my arms doing now? They're folded across my bosom. Let's see. But yeah, David Coverdale, I think was a genius for not calling it David Coverdale, even though he was clearly all about himself. because Whitesnake is such a... Like, if his name was David Whitesnake, that'd be one thing, but come on.
I only know
Everybody would
one.
be a rock star if it was up to their last name.
I guess I didn't look into it because I only know one Whitesnake song. Where What's Her Name's on the hood of the car.
I don't know the name of that one.
I don't either.
You know when you hear it.
Right, but I'm not a big
In
Whitesnake
the heat of the
fan.
night, or in the still of the night? In the still of the night, I think is what it is. Or the heat of the night.
Could be.
Want me to sing a few bars?
No.
Telling me I gotta have Mow Wow.
What are you doing on the table?
I'm thrusting. I'm thrashing. I'm doing all that stuff with my hair. I wish my hair was a little longer because my neck is starting to hurt. I can't believe this table's holding us too. So I did Whitesnake. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Keith Moon in The Who.
Yes.
When he passed, they were actually thinking about breaking up. But then they got Kenny Jones. God, now I can't remember where he was from.
I gotta be honest with you. Keep going, because I have a love-hate relationship with The Who. And when Keith Moon died, Pete Moon. When Keith Moon died, they put out, 3 albums after that? And they were...
I think they've actually put out more than that.
So they did more without Keith Moon than they did with.
Roger Daltrey was not a fan of Kenny Jones.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think it's because they called him Kenny?
I don't know why.
They called him Ken Jones? That doesn't sound very rock and roll. Nor does Kenny, if you ask me.
Should he have changed his name?
To like Whitesnake Jones. or Kenny Coverdale. Either one works. So, fucking A. Dude, it's all the name. You're not that good a drummer. If you show up at an audition, okay, trying to replace Keith Moon from The Who. Hey, what's your name? Kenny Jones. Hey, Kenny, you cannot be that good a drummer to make it on drumming alone. You gotta have a cool name like Keith Moon. I'd be like, hey, my name is Steve Saturn or Joe Jupiter or some shit like that. Tom Titan, which is one of the moons of Jupiter.
What are you doing? All Jetson names or what?
Well, moon. It's a celestial thing. What? You just pick up on that?
I don't know where your mind goes most of the time.
I can't believe you. Kurt Cobbett. Hey, what's going on there?
Oh.
I think I got one more.
I can't even go on after that.
Mark Milky Way. Except there'd be a hyphen. Like his mom's name was Milky and dad's name was Away. Okay.
Sticking with drummers.
Yeah.
We can go with
John Rutsey. Rush had 2 drummers. The original drummer for Rush was
my
John
God,
Rutsey.
is this a Rush podcast
And so
again?
Rush is not the... Neil Peart is the new guy in Rush, and he's joined them about 2 years after Rush started, and he's been there ever since. Well, he's not there anymore.
I purposely left the Grateful Dead off of this podcast.
Oh my God, the Grateful Dead had like 1 million guys. Rush had 4 for the entire run. 4.
It's not a competition, Jim.
Yeah, well, if this was, it would be like golf and Rush. It'd be like cross country. Nerd alert. Cross country scoring, the low score wins there.
I think it's more like bowling.
Actually, ZZ Top would beat Rush, but nobody else comes close.
Bowling is more the appropriate way to go. Yes, you want the higher amount of people in the band.
I think that's what you think about golf scores, the way I've seen you play.
I do.
Crush it. That's how you get a 300 one time.
Which we found member of our old golf course tonight. He was at Newt's.
Yeah, everyone goes to Newt's. It all comes back to Newt's.
And we were reminiscing on the sadness.
I think we kept him taking a piss, too. I hope he got there in time.
Yeah.
He was looking.
He finally said, I got to go. And ran as much as he could run. Actually, he walks better than I do. Sticking with drummers.
Yes.
We'll go with Ringo Starr, who replaced...
John Rutsey. He replaced Pete Best.
Who got kicked out.
Pretty good name, because I bet Pete Best got Pete Good way out of there.
Which was sad because he was a better drummer than Ringo Starr.
The more I hear about Ringo, the more I don't believe that. Because Ringo could pick up... Ringo is an amazing drummer. He's not a real technical drummer, but when it comes to just good rhythms and serving the song, he's like Mike Campbell from the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as a guitarist. He's not going to be compared with Eddie Van Halen, but he was perfect for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and the type of music they put out.
Well, when they did Sgt. Pepper's, I think it was Sgt. Pepper's album, Paul McCartney came in and redid all the drumming. Ringo walks in and goes, "Why am I here?" He was going to quit.
Well,
so I don't think you'd be the best drummer if you were going to get...
It's rumored that somebody said, what's it like to have the best drummer in rock, to like John and Paul? And they said, he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. But you can't find a source for that. You can't see it like a video of that interview or whatever. But what I'm saying is that Ringo is I think the least appreciated drummer on the planet, because he'd have to sit there all fucking day when they're sitting there. You ever seen their studio sessions? They just sit around and ramble gibberish at each other, and then they would start fucking riffing, and all Ringo would just whoop, had the sticks in the hand. He's the guy that put the backrest on a drum throne. That's kind of his thing, because he had to sit there all day long, and he didn't want to miss anything. And once they started grooving, he put it down.
I would agree.
Very simple drummer, but people try really hard to duplicate it, and it's hard to do.
I don't know why you would call Ringo Starr a simpleton, but we'll go on.
I said Simple Jack. How far have we come that movie was not that old? Simple Jack?
Was that the one with Sean Penn?
That's the one with Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller. Today's Tropic Thunder. They use some terminology that cannot be used in this day and age.
Back to Pete Best.
Yes, Pete. Good name, too, honestly. I'm thinking about changing my last name to Best.
And even if he was the same, what do you call it?
Competency?
Thank you. As Ringo, why would you kick someone else out to replace him with someone who is just as good?
Well, that's a good question. How do you not know that? You're a Beatles guy. You're more of a Beatles guy than I am.
When they were starting to do the shows, people were calling it Pete Best and the Beatles.
Really? I gotta look into that.
You know what? Let's get rid of them.
How about we just call ourselves the Beatles and get a new guy?
It would be like having Jim and the Ascertainers.
That's what most people know it says.
And then I would get somebody else to replace you. Might even be worse.
I think it would be great.
I don't know if I could find anyone
Would it have
worse.
to be recorded in my basement? Would I have to sit and watch you guys walk in and laughing up down here? And I'd just be
in the corner crying.
I'd be like,
why doesn't my Netflix work?
There's a term for that. It's like cucking or something like that. I don't want to be that guy so bad.
Oh my God. Anything I'm going to cut.
What kind of crap are you watching on your phone, dude?
Oh my God. That's
no
terrible.
Wonder your screen turns around all the time. What the hell, man?
Ouch. How did that go from bands that changed members to, well, I guess members?
You made fun of Rush. You knew it was going to hit you at some point. So
your turn.
Really? Do I have to? Let's see. Oh, I'm out. Hang on. No, I got one more. Oh, well, it's not a very good one. There's a band called the Gin Blossoms. Are you familiar?
I hate the Gin Blossoms.
Why?
I guess it's just that one song that you heard in the 90s over and over again.
Which one?
I don't.
A ton.
No, there wasn't. Was there really?
Hitmakers. Yes, they had the one from the movie, Till I Heard It From You. That's a good one. They had Allison Road. They had this other one and a whole bunch of others. Anyway, I don't think it was their singer, but it was the guitarist or the bass player that wrote everything. Like they sang his songs. Well, he took his own life, and now here they are. They're at the peak of their, people are expecting something out of them, and they couldn't. If that guy was still around I thought that was a good band, by the way. It was kind of a 90s band, and I know you're not into. Very few people, I think, are into both the Grateful Dead and the Gin Blossoms, unless you're cool.
Is that the guy who wore the Nordic ski hat in the video?
No. That was like Spin Doctors or something.
Maybe I'm thinking of Spin Doctors.
Yeah. Gin Blossoms were fine.
I like that. When you're talking about a band.
Shout out. Ooh,
How are the Ascertainers? They're fine.
I will do one more since just to tease one more out of you. There's a band called the Refreshments, also out of Tempe, Arizona. Their guitar player wound up getting into a huge drug habit and took all the band's money and all that. They kicked him out, and then they replaced him with a guy named Jim Dalton. And they became Roger Klein and the Peacemakers. And if you've not heard of them and you're cool, I'll post a what?
Oh,
you want some zing?
Yeah.
It's called Zing a Zang. I will post a Roger Klein and the Peacemakers video at the bottom of this episode. Give it a listen. It's just good music. And he went full independent. He eschewed his label. I think that's how you say that. He said, F you labels. I'm just going to produce everything myself, distribute it myself, and cut out the middleman.
I like that.
Yeah.
We could do a whole episode on bands that lost any member from drugs.
Okay. Oh, from drugs?
Like Blind Melon.
Or Sublime.
Sublime. There's another.
I don't know about Sublime, though. They might be still kicking.
I think they did break up after. They tried to continue, but then they
Do you know how many
on.
members were in Blind Melon? Because I feel like the Blind Melon guy just sang.
He did.
Sublime was a three-piece, which blows my mind. And Sublime came up with No Doubt, and they would join each other on stage quite a bit. And if you ever get a chance to see a Sublime with Gwen Stefani like live performance video, well worth it. Fun. Fun.
Well, like the Doors tried to carry on after Morrison. They put out 2 albums after Jim Morrison passed.
With the same singer? No, not with Jim Morrison. Oh God, that was so loud. I'm so sorry. No, did they have a vocalist though?
Ray Manzarek sang, and so did the guitarist. I can't even remember his name. Robbie Krieger. They alternated.
And who was the drummer?
Johnny Densmore.
John Densmore.
Well, I like
Great.
Johnny since you're going with
You know Johnny?
Kenny Jones. Johnny. You know.
I don't think it's Johnny Densmore, but those were some good rock names those guys had. Robbie Krieger, not Rob Krieger. Hey, I'm Rob Krieger. Yeah. Oh, yeah, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm Rob Krieger. Yeah, fuck you, not in the band. Unless you're willing to go by Robbie. Okay. Lynyrd Skynyrd. I mean, that's one that went through a variety of different concoctions. But they had, I guess Johnny Van Zant kind of left 38 Special to become their full-time singer.
Rossington Collins.
Yeah, what the hell was that? That was in like the early 80s. I think that's when Skynyrd was still a thing, wasn't it? Collins got really fucked up in the
Car accident.
I thought it was the plane crash.
But then he had a car accident and he was paralyzed.
Okay. But Collins got better, didn't he? Because I thought he played with Skynyrd again.
No, I believe. I'll have to look that up.
I mean, at his best, he looked like a guy that survived a plane crash. I mean, he was a
It was
a
rough.
weird-looking cat. But boy, those guys could play. And how well they could play together always blew my mind. I think that was a stereotype on my part that there were these, rough-ass looking Southern guys, but they were quite well trained in music. I mean, the songs don't lie.
That Freebird version where they were opening for the Stones somewhere in the South. Oh, it's just
Is that the one?
phenomenal.
Is that the one you typically hear live where he goes play Pretty for Atlanta? 'Cause
Yeah.
That's in the South.
And then, is it? Then
Oh, I get this look from Mark. Oh, is it? Really? Jim Atlas? Jim Atlas. That's a good name, too. Oh, my gosh. Jim Atlas and the Shrugs. Fuck it. Let's change the name of the Ascertainers to Jim Atlas and the Shrugs.
wait, hey, I'm a shrug.
Oh, you're one of the Shrugs. There'll be more. Don't worry. I don't like your chances. His first 90 episodes has been fun, but I think we could do better. We can Rosington you right out of this mother trucker.
Oh, that video where they were opening for the Stones, and
Yes.
the Stones says, "Don't walk onto the stage on the tongue."
On the tongue. They shouldn't have said that.
I think that's just perfect.
Who was the band? Oh, you know what? It was ZZ Top. Did you know that the Stones requested ZZ Top because they were so big in the States, probably? I mean, by then the Stones were a big deal anyway. But apparently the Stones brought them out to play like a Hawaii show. And it was quite a scene.
In what way?
Just that ZZ Top kind of
Sold the show?
played it pretty good. Yeah, pretty well. Excuse me. But yeah, anytime you get a chance to see a ZZ Top documentary, take the chance. Those guys have a lot of history and a lot of, like, each one of them is just a cool story. And really, especially the drummer who lost everything and now is sober, but you wouldn't know it. I think he still has drugs going through his system. When you hear him talking, he's just so goddamn mellow. Frank Beard.
The only one without a beard.
Yes.
We covered that.
If you've learned nothing from 89 episodes. 90, is this the 90th episode?
It is.
We're counting down to 100, and we're going to try, well, we still got to book them, but we're going to try to get the theme, the creators of the Ascertainers original theme music, Alex and Paul on. And maybe we can pull the rest of Fiji and just, set up the mics and yell into them and stuff.
If we have room, because we're going to have Joe Rogan, Conan O'Brien. I mean, for our 100th episode, we're going to have...
Is there a better interviewer than Conan O'Brien?
No.
I know I was supposed to say Joe Rogan, but Conan O'Brien is so effortless and just so not... God, Rogan's really good, but Rogan's not funny. Conan could take kind of dull moments and just bring out some humor in them. Just enough, though. Kind of like turning the lights up a little bit.
Present company excluded.
But interviewer? We don't interview.
We had your mom on.
You were so nice with her.
Well,
That's a small piece of work, though. Let's get your mom on. I'm gonna be aggressive with your mom. Oh, really? Really? You think so? That's how you do meatloaf? Give me a break. What's your mom's name?
Marlene.
Marlene? I could never yell at a Marlene. That's such a great name.
I'm going to end this podcast with Judas Priest.
End it?
Yeah. Because
It's been good working with you. Hope you enjoy your holiday. Son of a bitch. I wasn't aware that Rob Halford left Judas Priest.
He did.
When?
They kicked him out. What was that? It's got to be
the 2000s, though.
kind of the Nirvana era.
That would be the 90s. Early 90s.
If you ever watch Rockstar, the movie with...
Oh, that's right. You said that was about...
It was exactly
the guy that they
about...
kicked out was... Yeah, because he was wearing a wig and he was maybe homosexual and they didn't... They
But they picked up a lead singer from a tribute band, which is exactly like the movie.
I kind of like that movie.
Hart wrote the music to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at Mark. And we're going to end this episode with you on a roll. Are you sure? All right.
I do have more. Like INXS, they found their singer on a reality TV show. Do you remember that?
I kind of want to make a joke, but I'm not
Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to think of one.
I think that's all I
They had
had.
another guy that was going to join INXS, but he kept him hanging. So he... Oh, man.
I almost spit all over the
Mark. I mean, I was looking at the bottom of his glass. He was fully committed to that sip when I said that. So,
that's
yeah, we better end it before God ends us here. So thanks. Thanks for listening. We'll try harder on the next 90.
And please, text us on any platform you listen to us on. It's so easy. Just text us.
It's so easy. It's so easy. It's so... Oh.
And we have the email at theascertainers@gmail.com and our Facebook page.
Go to Facebook. We're going to put more sound bites out. The last one was from like October.
Thank you for listening.
Good night now.